Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea semester of classes with me, Stéphane Erler, the founder of the TeaMasters blog and the T-Masters.com tea boutique. Welcome to this fall-winter 2025 semester, where we are going to introduce today the classes that I'm going to bring you on this channel every week at the same time, Sunday at 10. And we are back and we want to cover some fundamental ground. And I hope that these lessons will bring you lots of benefits. And I try to detail the content in a moment. But before I do that, I have to start with a very important announcement, because the summer has not been very restful for the world, and a very important development happened last week due to the tariffs of President Trump. The post office in Taiwan decided to stop shipping small packages via airmail or EMS to the United States. So this news only concerns Americans or people living in America and wanting to order tea from me in Taiwan. This is not possible anymore starting last week. I don't know how long it will last. The Taiwan Post Office also does not know. The situation is as follows. For a long time, for the last 20 years, there were no duties when shipping small packages to the United States. I think they had an $800 exemption. So the post office had no system in place to collect any duties. Now they have to close this loophole and collect duties. So for this, they need to set up a system that will make sure that they get the money from the end customer, since sorry, I'm not going to pay for the duties. So, and I cannot also, even if I collect them from you, I have no way of giving them to the post office, who would then give them to the US government. So this system does not work yet. So in the meantime, it will not be possible to send packages to the US. Otherwise, unless your order is really very big and you are okay to spend over $100 or $150 on the shipping. This is what it costs to ship from Taiwan via FedEx or DHL or UPS. It would cost over $100. So this is sometimes it makes sense for very large orders, but for most tea orders, actually, they fall in the $50 to $300 US range. Here, it does not really make sense. So, how can we adapt to this situation, dear US customers? One way is to have your orders shipped maybe to friends in Canada that you visit, or maybe elsewhere in the world like Europe, or if you come to Taiwan, have it shipped to your hotel, or you come to pick them up from me and get a tea class along. These are possibilities. Otherwise, well, we will just have to wait this one out and hope for the best, that that the situation will find a solution, and that duties can be paid in the US, even via the post office. Now, this situation underlines the concept of anti-fragility. It's a concept from Nassim Taleb, an economist, who defines anti-fragility as something a bit different from strength. You have the good example are dinosaurs. these were very powerful, strong creatures at the top of the food chain in their time. They had no enemies, they were so large, and they were very well adapted to their environment. They really took advantage of everything that was growing, the plants that were growing, they were able to digest them. So they were very well adapted to their time. However, when a meteorite fell on the Earth and changed the climate suddenly, they were so well adapted to the present condition that they were wiped off the map because they were unable to change and adapt to this new situation. So this is a bit, I think, the background for these duties. The US president feels that the US is like maybe like a dinosaur, very dependent on Chinese manufacturing, and he would like to bring manufacturing back to the United States to be less dependent on China. However, in the process, maybe he's causing more damage than advantages for the US economy. This we are going to find out in the coming years. It's going to be interesting. A general rule, in tea, when we are brewing tea, we're not talking about politics, but sometimes politics catches up to us. So today I'm going to drink a Fushoshan Oolong, which is also called the President's Tea in Taiwan. If you wonder why, you can check one of my previous videos about the name, the President's Tea. And I think I like last year's President's Tea better, so I chose to drink the 2024 President's Tea from Fushoshan during this tea class. That's just a little private joke. Now, another interesting thing about anti-fragility is our tea classes and the way that I was taught and the way I'm teaching you. I think it's in a very anti-fragile way because I'm not giving very strict instructions of how many grams of tea per milliliter of water, or how long you should brew, what exact cups you should use, or what exact material. Sometimes we use a bowl, a gaiwan, an Ishin teapot. We are not measuring the weight. We are not using a timer for our brew, but the way I'm teaching you is to pay attention to the character of the tea in order to adapt your brew to each tea that you are making, so that it's not a formula that is dead, but that it's more general principles that are alive and that guide you and let you adapt to each situation. So maybe in the summer, when you are more thirsty and you don't want something, then I prefer my tea a bit lighter. So that's why I use a bit fewer leaves. And if you are also in the summer, I like to use these open mouth shaped cups because they will cool down a bit faster. So, and also the thin walls will also cool down a bit faster. So my brewing technique tries also to fit this concept of anti-fragility. Another application of anti-fragility is to be a very small business and being able to respond to these kind of big shifts in the economy or in the regulations. Now with the US market closed to me for a while, I'm not able to export my tea to maybe half of my customers. Well, no problem. Since I'm speaking French and German also, and English is also well understood in lots of other countries in Northern Europe and even in Asia, I don't have much worries that I won't find customers for good teas. Good teas always find a way to customers. That's the problem with high quality teas. They are difficult to find because once some customers find them, word of mouth spreads and then it sells out quite easily. So, and that's why when the dinosaurs disappeared, the cockroaches and mice, they continued to adapt to the environment because they were small and nimble. That's what my shop is about. And so I hope for the best for you guys in the US, and for the others, let's enjoy these tea classes. Now let me give you more detail about the course that I have prepared. It will focus on Wenshan Baozhong, Taiwan's oldest tea appellation, and together we are going to study this tea from lots of different angles. For instance, we are going to study its history, which dates back to the end of the 19th century, and we will see how it intersects with the history of China and Japan. Now, for this, I will be using these books, Baozhong Cha, Taiwan Cha Jie, and Dakai Chaxiang de Gushe. These are books in Chinese which are not translated into English. Two are from T. Parker. This one's from another author. They all touch on Baozhong and on the tea history in Taiwan or in northern Taiwan. So these are the material I'm going to use. These books mostly are not in print anymore. No worry, I have them on hand and I'm going to use them as my foundational material for these classes. Plus, with all the classes that I took with T. Parker about Oolong and Baozhong in particular, it's also going to be very helpful. Then we are also going to discuss the geography of Baozhong and how Baozhong kind of gradually migrated from Nangang to Pinglin. That's also quite interesting to see that tea trees are migrating. We would think of tea trees as something that does not move. A tree, how does it move? Well, but actually it does, and the plantations have moved away from the east of Taipei to the southeast. Then, of course, every week we are going to brew a different Baozhong from a sampler that I've selected and that I'm proposing also on TeaMasters.com on my boutique. This will give us the opportunity to review again the 3 ways of brewing tea with a bowl, gaiwan, or teapot, and above all, by studying these 8 Baozhongs, we are going to study several cultivars, 8 different styles, and the large variety that we find in Baozhong, which is maybe larger than in high modern oolongs, where we only use 1 or 2 cultivars, Jinshuan up to 1,200 meters, and then it's almost only Qingxing Oolong There are very few other cultivars used in the high mountains, but in Wenshan, for Baozhong, there are lots of different cultivars. We are going to start these classes in 2 weeks. I want to give you time to place your orders so that the tea has time to be shipped to you. Several have done so already. I thank them very much, Valerie and Elizabeth. And if you have not done yet, it's really a good opportunity to buy now, because these 8 Baozhongs cost only $85. That's, you are saving $4.5 compared to buying them individually. And I also add an additional 12-gram sample of green Bilochun. I will explain a little bit later why. What are we doing next week? We are doing a class about Zola's novel, The Lady's Paradise, or The Lady's Delight. And we are going to study this novel from the angle of tea and beverages. And this is a kind of study that I've done already several times with Zola. And I find it very interesting how well beverages and tea shed a lot of light on the meaning that Zola puts in his stories. So this will be next week's program while we are waiting for your Baozhongs to arrive. Then in 2 weeks we will start with the cheapest Baozhong on my selection, the Wenshan Baozhong of spring 2025. It is Baozhong made from Cui Jade cultivar number 13, and it only costs $3.5 for 25 gram, or $17.5 for 150 gram. So this is really the basic tea, basic Baozhong, and very interesting because it's a spring offering. It is also a single batch, not a mix. So it has lots of individual character, and it is very representative of the Baozhong that is the most common, because it's the cheapest level. So this is really the kind of Baozhong that most people know and order when they are enjoying Baozhong. But I also want to show you that Baozhong can be about high quality. So in the week after we will taste the Baozhong Excellence, which is made of Qingxing Oolong. So the same cultivar as in the high mountains. Maybe here we will try and compare it with the high mountain Oolong to better understand what makes the terroir taste of Baozhong, since it is a different processing, but it is the same leaf, the same tea tree. That's going to be interesting. The week after we are going to try a Jade Excellence to show that even with the Jade cultivar you can do a very high quality Baozhong as well. Then we are going to study the Hongxin Baozhong. This is more exclusive cultivar that we don't find very often. It will be followed by Zhougui Baozhong, which is even more exclusive, because I think there's only one farmer that cultivates Zhougui in Taiwan, and Zhougui is one of the most important, most favorite cultivar right now in the Wuyi Mountains. So if you know Zhougui from Wuyi Yancha, it would be interesting to see how it tastes when it's cultivated and processed as a Baozhong. And I've got already lots of very nice feedback about this tea. And I had the chance of participating in the production process of this tea. It was a very hot day, and it was even hotter when you are sitting or when you are standing next to the oven to to do the kill green process, heating the leaves over 200 degrees Celsius in order to stop the oxidation. So, so this is also almost a TeaMasters exclusive tea. Then in another class we are going to study the Qin number 22, which is a newer cultivar, also developed like Cui Jade or Jinshuan by the Taiwan Tea Extension Station, the Taiwan Tea Research Institute, and this tea is grown on a family-sized organic plantation that I follow for over 20 years now, because they are also my supplier for Baozhongs, the green tea. So it's going to be interesting to, that's why I also wanted to add this sample of Baozhongs so that we can compare a green tea and a fresh Baozhong and see what is the big difference between these two families, because Baozhong belongs to the oolong, a partially oxidized tea family, whereas Baozhong is a green tea, non-oxidized tea. The Qin is also interesting because it's a winter harvest, and all the others are spring. So here we can get to better understand the character of winter harvests. And finally, the last two Baozhongs that we are going to study in this set are two more traditional Baozhong. One might surprise you, it's the Osmanthus scented Baozhong, also from Sanxia, from this organic tea plantation. And this Osmanthus Baozhong is, why is it traditional? Because from the very beginning, when Baozhong was invented in the late 19th century, it was scented especially for the Southeast Asia market. In Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, people, customers there, when they purchased Baozhong, they really were after the flower-scented Baozhong, like this Osmanthus Baozhong. And the last but not least, for to end this class, we'll also drink roasted Baozhong made from Hui cultivar from spring 2020, so already 5 years old, well aged, so that the roast off smells have mellowed away, and this is the kind of style, and also the cultivar, the Hui cultivar, that is the most traditional for Chaozhou Gongfu cha. And for this occasion, for this tea, we are going to brew it in that Chaozhou Gongfu cha style. That's going to be also one of the highlights, I guess, of this class at the end. So I think these 8 Baozhongs plus the Baozhong are really going to give us lots of insights about Baozhong, the variety that we find in terms of cultivars, in terms of styles, in terms of processes, and then also in terms of taste. I hope that this program will interest you, and I really recommend that you purchase the set as soon as possible, today or tomorrow, so that it will arrive when we start formally this class in 2 weeks. This will also help us make chashi, like today. These tea ceremonies, I don't like so much the name ceremonies, but the tea setup where we create a beautiful harmony between the accessories and the tea with 2 goals. The first goal, of course, is to make the best cup possible. And the second goal is to create a little paradise of beauty where you feel well, so that you want to be here now, at this place, nowhere else, this, to ground you in the present, in the now. And so we will see also each week how we can set up our chashi and make it in harmony with the tea that we are drinking, and to get the most out of it, to prepare it as well as possible, and also to add beauty to a world that is sometimes rough, that asks a lot of energy from us and adaptation, but also brings us lots of joy if we know how to adapt ourselves and stay nimble. Now, there are two teas that have arrived this summer that I want to also announce before I finish this class. One are the two red teas from the East Coast from this spring. I chose two different levels. Actually, the first level, the regular red tea from the East Coast, is already wonderful. Honey notes, and I used it like I described in my last tea class of the previous semester with a large teapot, and I really got excellent results. This is a tea that does not become bitter or astringent even when I brew it for 20-30 minutes. Of course, you don't need too many leaves, just one layer at the top of the at the bottom of the teapot, and then you can cool it down, put it in the fridge, drink it even cold. My kids loved it this summer, and I was so glad that they would drink my red tea instead of drinking sodas or bubble teas. These shops that you find now in Taiwan at every corner, and bubble teas, actually most of the shops I can smell, they are using artificial flavors and lots of sugar. So I really don't recommend that you try these bubble teas in Taiwan. It's better, much better to drink loose leaves that are unadulterated, that are not scented, not artificially scented. Osmanthus or jasmine are okay because these are natural scents from flowers in my selection. But otherwise, be careful of artificial scents. When it's too strong, it's usually artificial. And another tea that has also arrived, that was roasted mid-July after the summer harvests. It is a charcoal roast of the spring Yonglong Dongding Oolong. Last year's was sold out. It was our material for last year's classes, if you remember. And this year I recreated this set because I also was able to add the fresh leaves from this spring. So now it's possible in this set to compare the charcoal roasted Yonglong Dongding with the version before it was charcoal roasted, the fresh version. And this tea actually sells out very quickly, so if you are interested in this comparison, also don't wait and order quickly this set or just these two teas. They're really excellent. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you like this tea class, and if you don't want to miss the coming tea classes, subscribe to the channel, and you are also free to leave a message or a comment, and I can answer right now directly, or if you leave it later, I will also answer it on the blog. Let me check. Oh, lots of messages. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your kind words, and Terry for agreeing. Oh, Terry is brewing the Fushoshan of 2025. I am the 2024. I look forward to learning more about Baozhong vicariously. Hopefully the shipping problems will be resolved. But I have plenty of Baozhong in my stash. Great, thank you very much, Terry. I'm glad that you have enough Baozhong and that maybe some of them are similar to what we are going to study. Thank you very much, Elizabeth and Terry, for your comments. I wish you a great Sunday, great tea, and see you next week. Bye bye.